Okay, Victoria Monet fans, let's assemble. Our moment has finally arrived. Victoria has dropped her long awaited, highly anticipated debut album, Jaguar II, which is the follow up to her critically acclaimed classic, Jaguar EP, released in 2020. In the last 3 years since the Jaguar EP was released, so much has changed for Victoria, such as giving birth to her daughter Hazel, as well as getting signed to RCA Records. In 2021, Victoria teased her fans by dropping the singles FUCK and Coastin', but unfortunately, those songs did not make it onto the album as Victoria felt they did not sonically fit into the world of Jaguar II. Nevertheless, we officially entered the Jaguar II era in March of 2023 when the lead single Smoke featuring Lucky Daye was released, which was subsequently followed by Party Girls featuring Buju Banton and On My Mama. So for this review, I'm going to briefly discuss and give my thoughts on each song, give it a rating out of 1 through 10, and provide my overall assessment of the album. I don't know about anybody else, but Smoke was the song of the summer for me. Produced by her longtime collaborator D Mile, Smoke featuring fellow R&B powerhouse Lucky Daye is a soulful 70s funk and R&B track filled with clever and imaginative metaphorical one-liners that truly makes you feel a perfect mix of seduction and 70s groove. In earlier statements when the song was released, Victoria said, quote, "Smoke is the beginning of a new era for me, exhaling the old and inhaling the new," unquote. In the most gentle and silkiest way possible, Victoria gave celebrants of 420 a modern-day tribute for their affection of cannabis, similar to iconic songs like Mary Jane by Rick James and Sativa by Jhené Aiko. As for Smoke, it is rare to hear a song that sounds so complete, flavorful, and rich, especially when you take into account the live instrumentation. The video is just as, if not more, perfect than the song. The vintage aesthetic and graphic elements create an immersive visual experience that is utterly breathtaking. I saw this one tweet that said, "I don't know how to explain it, but Victoria Monet's music sounds like velvet. Like she has really mastered the art of making the softest, most beautiful songs. And don't get me started on the visuals." I read an article that compared the visual to Beyonce's video for Why Don't You Love Me, and I could definitely see the similarities in its own distinct ways. Overall, I give Smoke an undisputed 10 out of 10. Smoke Reprise was teased at the final minute of the Smoke video, and I believe Victoria accomplished her mission by putting us under her spell as a forever fan. I feel like I was in a trance and entered a state of bliss filled with softness, seduction, and serenity. In the clip, Victoria showcased her immaculate pole dancing skills, and if you are a longtime fan, you know she's been doing this since the Freak video from a couple years ago. So she definitely is not new to this. Also, the transition from this song into Party Girls is just chef's kiss. Once again, I will give Smoke Reprise a 10 out of 10. I just love the story behind Party Girls because it is essentially a success story of shooting your shot. Because as soon as her producer D Mile played the track, she laid down the hook and melodies and immediately felt like the legendary Buju Banton would be the perfect addition to the song. So she took a chance and DM'd Buju, and he sent her his verse back and proceeded to FaceTime her on WhatsApp to play his verse, which led Victoria to restructure the song to fit the energy he gave on the song. When discussing the inspiration for the song, Victoria said, quote, "Party Girls is an ode to women around the world who keep celebrations alive. If you recall any social gathering, nightlife extravaganza, or day party, you'll likely recall a moment where a woman made it so much more exciting. I wanted to make a song giving credit where it's due while simultaneously curating a sensual Caribbean-infused R&B song to continue the fun," unquote. When this song was released in May 2023, it wasn't my favorite. While I liked it because it showcased Victoria's versatility and ability to perform any genre, the song was too slow and did not really speak to me in the way which I had hoped even as time passed. I do feel like Buju ignited the song at the perfect point in the track. Regardless of my feelings of the song itself, I will say Victoria's sultry and mature vocals gave very much Sade Adu vibes in her opening verse. Additionally, the video was simply a vision. Shot on location in Jamaica, Victoria did a great job at capturing the essence of Caribbean culture at a dance hall party. As expected, the choreography led by Sean Bankhead was top tier, and it is no surprise it resulted in an online Party Girls challenge with many people attempting to recreate the choreography. I saw one tweet that said, "Victoria bringing back the R&B and dancehall collabs that used to be so popular in the 2000s. And it instantly reminded me of super successful R&B and dancehall hit songs such as Give It Up To Me with Sean Paul and Keisha Cole, Baby Boy with Beyonce and Sean Paul, What's My Name with Rihanna and Drake, and Nina Sky's Move Your Body. I think Victoria is helping to revitalize this forgotten era of music while crafting it to fit her sound. There is another tweet that said, "There's no one comparing to Victoria Monet when it comes to the crossover of her writing, producing, singing, dancing, and creative direction from project to project. She consistently delivers quality sonic experiences with visuals to match. Party Girls is the latest example. And I 100% agree. I give Party Girls an 8.5 out of 10. So far, it seems like All Right is already becoming a fan favorite. The electronic dance pop bassline heavy track was produced by Kaytranada, and the thing that resonated with me the most from this song is that we clearly need a full-length collab project with Victoria and Kaytranada. Victoria confirmed in her Apple Music interview that the two have more music together, so we can only hope that they decide to bless their fans with more collabs. I loved All Right because the wordplay was just so clever and refined. Victoria was rightfully feeling herself by saying once he thinks he touched her soul, she would most definitely be back out here solo. Victoria sounds so unshaken and beyond confident on this record, and I can see why so many people are ranking this one high. I give this song a 9 out of 10. I just love Southern anthems. Cadillac, a Pimp's anthem, is everything I hoped it would be and more. This song would fit right in with the era of blaxploitation films from the 70s, such as Foxy Brown and Coffee, and it places women at the forefront of being in charge. In my personal opinion, this song would be the final member of the holy trinity of the Southern female empowerment anthems. Alongside Southside Royalty Freestyle by Megan Thee Stallion off of her Traumazine album, and Diva by Beyonce from our I Am Sasha Fierce album, all three have their own distinct personalities, but it reinforces the message that women can do it just as well, if not better than men in every aspect. When talking about the song, Victoria said, quote, "I feel like when I listen back to Cadillac, it just made me need to lean back in an old school car and have a cigar or something. The horns feel very Southern, which I'm obsessed with. I think that comes from Earth, Wind, and Fire in their arrangements, but it translates into HBCU culture, big bands, and a Southern feel for sure," unquote. Overall, I give Cadillac a 9.5 out of 10. How Does It Make You Feel is nothing short of delightful. This song is what dreams are literally made of. It makes me feel like I am being embraced and welcomed into heaven, as it has such a warm, loving, and magical element to it sonically and lyrically that I feel like its message could be interpreted several different ways. It reminds me of songs like Can't Take My Eyes Off You by Lauryn Hill, Love All Over Me by Monica, and Everything by Mary J. Blige, where the lyrics of these songs could be talking about the unconditional love of a higher power, a relationship, or a child. The messages of these songs are all encompassing, and the most important takeaway is that you could feel the love and joy in the singer's voice. I feel like we hear that with this song, especially given Victoria's deep vocals that really elevate this heartfelt love ballad. This song is probably my second favorite aside from Smoke, and is one that I feel is going to age incredibly well as time goes by. Lastly, the strings at the outro was just beyond incredible. I give How Does It Make You Feel a 10 out of 10. Honestly, what more is there to say about On My Mama? One thing about me, I love a revitalized sample. This song samples Charlie Boy's 2008 single, I Look Good, and Victoria did an extraordinary job of reinterpreting the song to flip it into a matriarchal, ego-boosting anthem. I feel like the main reason people are so tired of hearing samples these days is because artists do the bare minimum at personalizing the song to insert their take on the production. Instead of using the beat as a reference to make it their own, we mostly hear just a copy and paste of what has already been done before. I believe why On My Mama is resonating with so many people is Victoria's lyricism and her use of horns, which is her staple. She took it from what we knew it as a hip-hop song and made it a groovy, nostalgic record that gravitates towards both the millennials and the new generation of younger people who may not be familiar with the original song, but are more than willing to do a TikTok challenge to the infectious beat. Victoria said this song was essentially an affirmation to herself after giving birth. It came about when she was nursing her daughter in the studio and trying to balance the new mindset with her old life. Victoria said, quote, On My Mama is a soundtrack to positive affirmations. I wrote it postpartum when I wasn't feeling my best, but spoke to how I wanted to feel. Singing the lyrics about yourself will change your frequency and elevate a positive mental state. The words speak not only to physical features, but to a feeling too, because I believe when you feel good, you look even better. Give yourself the words you need to hear because it's true. You look good, unquote. The music video, choreographed by Sean Bankhead, accomplished everything and more. It gave Y2K realness and BET 106 & Park #1 video energy. It reminded me of a time where Southern culture in hip-hop and R&B was unapologetically reigning supreme in the music industry and doing so at a high-quality level. Victoria showed love to HBCU culture, legendary memes, signature lowriders, and successfully brought two generations together, which I feel like was nicely visualized with cameos from her mother and daughter. On My Mama gets an undeniable 10 out of 10 for me. Even though the transition with the production was not as seamless with On My Mama to I'm the One, I feel like the story of both songs flow flawlessly. With On My Mama, she is boasting and bigging herself up, while on I'm the One, she's questioning why someone can't see and realize essentially how great she really is. Similar to her other tracks, the song can be interpreted different ways. On one hand, it could be about someone she is dating and not seeing her value as a potential partner, or one could see it as her place in the music industry. For so many years, especially since the release of Jaguar Part 1, people have been saying how underrated Victoria is and how she should be a superstar. But while her main goal has been to pursue solo stardom, Victoria took a backseat to write for other pop stars. I think this song paints a picture of why she even chose the name Jaguar. Victoria says she went with Jaguar because, quote, "When I think of a jaguar, I know that their habitat is the jungle. I know that a lot of times they are not seen, but they're there. They exist. They have this very amazing way of hunting and getting what they want. If you've ever seen a jaguar walk toward a camera, it's very intentional with a little bit of seduction. But for me, I feel like the music industry has been my jungle, and I've been the black jaguar. I wasn't always seen, but I've always felt like I've been here existing amongst the leaves and trees. And now with these projects, it's my time to come through, step into the light, and bite some ish," unquote. This storytelling of the song is impeccable, and is one that I feel like does not even warrant a video because its lyrics are so picturesque that she does enough to tell the whole story. I give I'm the One a 9.5 out of 10. Stop Asking Me for Ish is such a hilarious masterpiece. I feel like in some way, everyone can relate to this song in one way or another. Whether it is the feeling of irritation when dealing with someone, or just being annoyed when people ask them for money all the time, it is painfully relatable and simultaneously beautifully made. Aside from that, this song immediately made me realize that Silk Sonic did themselves a disservice by not including Victoria on their album. Their sound and theme for their project is a perfect match with Victoria's, and she only would have elevated their sound with her feminine presence. I would never forget Victoria submitting a well-crafted audition tape tweet to join Silk Sonic on their tour. I just love how Victoria is not afraid to shoot her shot, because it seems like when she really wants something, she actively finds a way to obtain it. Someone on the platform X even did a mashup to Silk Sonic's song After Last Night and her song Cadillac, and it sounded just like a missed opportunity on Silk Sonic's part to collab with Victoria. I saw this one tweet that said, "What Victoria did with Jaguar II reminds me of what Silk Sonic tried to do, but couldn't completely grasp because Victoria Monét is actually a product of and studied the rhythm, songwriting, harmonies, production, and instrumentalism of 1970s and 1980s black singing groups." While I don't all the way agree with this user, I definitely understand because songs like Cadillac and Stop that feature that live instrumentation and iconic musical break showcase that Victoria is a student of the game, and she is able to replicate that era of music without it sounding soulless or forced. Stop is definitely a well-crafted song, but I couldn't see myself voluntarily playing it because it's not really my vibe, or if it's a mood I would be in to listen to it. I would give Stop a 7 out of 10. I was looking forward to hearing Hollywood the most from this album because it's simply earth, wind, and fire. This group has spanned generations and are the epitome of making timeless records. Hollywood is so warm and is one that brings you to deep reflection. The graceful and serene production brings forth tranquility and allows one to realize how far they've come in accomplishing their dreams, but it is also a reminder to stay grounded and remember the simple things in life and what brought you to that point. I don't know why, but this song reminded me of 2300 Jackson Street by the Jacksons because that song features the superstar family of the Jacksons going back to their childhood home and reminiscing of their upbringings as they eventually became some of the biggest stars in the world. When discussing the idea for the collaboration, Victoria said, quote, "One of my biggest goals for the album was to make it feel timeless. When I think about influence, I try to go to the root of it. That's where I think that the 70s influence comes from, but I also want to make music that my daughter likes and would appreciate. I want to have fun and be witty and express myself in a way that feels current to me. I think the combination of it was what makes it feel a bit more futuristic or span more generations, because you have this really intricate musicality and bass lines and live strings and horns, just really elevated things in the midst of a really digital world," unquote. While this song is not one of my favorites on the album, I think it has the potential to age extremely well. I would give Hollywood a 7 out of 10. Goodbye gave all of the much needed 60s, 70s aura that was reminiscent of acts like Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. It was so hard to tell when this song was created because it perfectly fits the era that heavily influenced this album. When discussing her inspiration for this album, Victoria said, quote, "I actually am drawn to lots of eras, the 60s, even the 20s. I love Dorothy Dandridge and Motown music. The 70s, just a fusion of music bringing more freedom and black art to the forefront. So I try to do my due diligence of incorporating the things that I love about other music eras into my music. And one of the things is having live instruments all over the album," unquote. I think this is the perfect send-off to the Jaguar era. Although goodbyes are difficult, Victoria wants to make the final goodbye worth it and give her fans something to resonate and live with for a long time. I would love to see a live performance of this song in particular because it's the one I feel would do well with audiences, and she would be able to recreate the iconic period where artists used to put on their best performance on platforms such as the Apollo or American Bandstand. I give Goodbye an 8 out of 10. After listening to the album a couple times, I understand what Victoria means when she says that the difference between Jaguar I and Jaguar II is essentially if one were to listen to her as a freshman in high school and then listen to her as a freshman in college. Her vocals have matured to become more huskier, stacked, and sultry, which strengthens and elevates songs such as Party and How Does It Make You Feel. Victoria really cares about creating a sensory and visual experience, which is hard for an artist to put an equal amount of effort into both components. My favorite aspect of Victoria's artistry is her dedication to live instrumentation in her music. I remember this one tweet that said, "I miss live instruments in soul and R&B music," and I totally agree. We used to have artists such as Tina Marie, Prince, or Earth, Wind & Fire that included real instruments in their discography, which made that human element in the creation of music that much more authentic and hard to replicate. Though I feel like there is a drought in live instruments being used in songs, it is somewhat making a comeback, in which artists like her has noted that there is a new generation of artists playing instruments and learning how to play the guitar and piano. When asked about her sonic palette on this album, Victoria said, quote, "Every instrument that has been played on Jaguar II could potentially just be played on the laptop or piano, but the fact that it is live makes it feel a lot thicker and more soulful. I think about how every person playing every instrument has a soul, and when they are playing each thing, you could feel it. There's additional emphasis on each instrument versus one producer playing each sound with his keyboard. The same person is doing the same thing in a very different way. I always really appreciate the live musician aspect of it," unquote. Victoria even once jokingly said years ago that one of the ideas she had when she went on tour was to have a band named Monét and the Melanistics, similar to Bruno Mars' band The Hooligans. I really hope Victoria does that one day because it matches her musical style, and it would be my dream to see all of the unique, endless arrangements, melodies, and versions of the songs from this album. Finally, I would say that my favorite songs would be Smoke and the Reprise, Alright, How Does It Make You Feel, On My Mama, and I'm the One. As of now, the first Jaguar is my favorite out of the two installments because I thought it was lyrically stronger, but I feel like this one would grow on me. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the album or what are some of your favorite songs from Jaguar 2. Let me know if you prefer Jaguar 1 or Jaguar 2. Were you one of the very lucky people who were able to purchase tickets to her sold-out tour? Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.